My name is Jeannette. I'm a nurse from Ottawa. I work in a hospital. I work technically in a general surgery unit, but we're one of the designated COVID units in Ottawa. I'm also a part of All Nations Church Central in Ottawa as well. That's me. I'm going to preface this by saying that since we were designated the COVID unit, there's been many changes on the daily about how things run, how we have to adapt. And so I think that with the pandemic and everything, COVID has made me take a step back and reflect upon what we take for granted every day. That could be face-to-face connection, and even being able to meet intentionally or being able to greet someone without fear. So many things from a medical perspective are examined under a microscope. So whether it's a medical procedure or personal interactions, I think there's a level of discomfort amongst of staff that I work with, and I believe it's brought upon by fear of the unknown, just with all of the changes happening. And so I would say even like prior to the pandemic, I would pray every day. I'd go into the Word every morning and reflect about it. But I think even more so during the pandemic, I do that even more because that's where I draw strength from. And if I don't take time to do that, I feel honestly dry like a desert. I really do. I'm doing okay. I think there's certain days where it's a stressful time to be in the medical field. Well, not just in the medical field, but just in this season, right? There's some days where I feel like I can handle this. Mm-hmm. And then there's other days where I'm like, I just feel totally exhausted, and I'm just like, okay, well, today is done and that's it. And that's all I can do. And then tomorrow will be another day, and His mercies are new every day, you know? I think I'm doing okay overall. I think it is exhausting because it's something that I guess with working with patients and you see how they're suffering and all that, as much as we leave it at the hospital, sometimes you think about it, you know? And it does it's something that you have to kind of really surrender to God and just let Him take that. So you're not thinking about it at night and thinking about what you didn't do or what you should have done in those situations. So, but I think like a lot of people, we all long for being able to connect with others again. So like I miss my family a lot. I miss seeing my friends more often, you know, even though I've been gradually been able to do that more like cautiously, but I still miss my family. And so yeah, that's kind of how I'm doing. So, but I'm okay. Yeah. And thanks for asking, by the way. Yeah.
Of course.
I was thinking about this question for a little bit, and I think something that I've been doing for a while now is just saying declarations about God's goodness and who God is and what He stands for. Something that I've been praying about for a while, and I try to pray about more often, is just especially about protection for the staff, for my family, for myself, for my friends, my colleagues, my housemates, you know, and just declaring God's protection over everyone against COVID and all that. And it's kind of neat how God can change things in an instant. So for example, this was a while back when the pandemic was declared, and there was a patient who I had who had COVID and another respiratory infection. And he was struggling quite a bit during his recovery. because both infections were taking a toll on his body. So I was his nurse over the course of 2 nights, and this isn't like a senior gentleman, like he was older and whatnot. So I remember leaving the unit on my last night shift at that time and giving report to one of my colleagues who was also a Christian as well, and I was feeling discomfort and concern over this patient because he wasn't in great shape. And sometimes, I guess as a medical practitioner, sometimes when you leave the unit and then you leave for a day or 5 days or however long you come back, you're kind of wondering, I wonder if that person's going to be okay. I wonder if that person's going to make it, just because of the severity of how COVID is like. So anyway, after I left the unit, I prayed for him, and I prayed for him during my days off. And what was really cool was that when I came back from my rotation, for my next rotation, he had gotten much better. And then by the end of my rotation, although I didn't have him, he wasn't my patient at that time, he was able to go home and he recovered tremendously. So my colleagues and I were really happy to see his progress because he had recovered so well. And at that time, when he was my patient on the previous rotation, and this was like way back when, I was quite concerned for his health. So yeah, so praise God, like honestly, like we were all really content to see his progress. I guess kind of like what I mentioned in terms of continued protection over the healthcare workers, our families. So normally, I guess every morning, I always pray for full-on protection from the Lord, not just for myself, but for my family, my colleagues, my friends, and all of that. So I know it sounds very basic, but at the end of the day, he has been faithful and steadfast in that whenever I've prayed that. So that's always important. And just, I guess, just strength and peace during this time, and yeah, I guess because we're always kind of, I think for a lot of us, we're always concerned about our loved ones whenever we come home and all that. And I think for a lot of us, we've been abiding in, I guess up until more recently, in not seeing or seeing our families less, and that can take a toll on like mental health and all of that. So just being able to be in strength and peace about that, and having opportunities to connect with others too intentionally.